So we're recording. We're live. How are you, Mr. Zach Large?
Surviving.
I bet. Thank you for coming on, being my first guest.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Can you introduce yourself real quick, just so the audience gets to know you a little bit better and knows what you do?
Yeah, yeah. So I live in Durham, North Carolina, and basically, I work at Trader Joe's. And when I'm not working at Trader Joe's, I play music or go like hiking and like hang out with my wife or my dog and my brother and stuff.
So how's it been at Trader Joe's during this pandemic? Because I assume you've been working nonstop, right?
Yeah, I actually haven't had any. Well, let me take that back. I have had some time off, but yeah, when it started, man, it was crazy. Everybody was in a panic, and the store was just getting wiped out. Like, down south when there's like hurricanes and snowstorms, everybody just like hits the grocery store and cleans it out. It was basically like that. It was like feeling like the end of the world kind of thing.
Now, was this in the beginning of the pandemic, or is business still crazy booming right now?
I mean, it's still pretty busy. So like that's the store I work at is in Chapel Hill, and it's like the second busiest Trader Joe's in our region, Nashville being the top one. So we were like already crushing it like on a basis. We're making like millions, like over $1 million like each week or something like that. And when COVID started, that was like in March, like early or damn, I don't. It's been so long, but not really. It's so weird. But like yeah, in March when it all started, it was just like craziness, and no one knew anything of what was going on or like how people were getting sick. So everybody was just freaking out.
And you were an essential worker, so you couldn't just call out and you can't work from home, right?
Yeah, I mean, like if I like so Trader Joe's offered if like you couldn't like deal with what was going on, you could do like personal leave, which is awesome. I mean, I don't think any other business would do that for their employees. But Trader Joe's has like treated us pretty well. But basically, like if you were overwhelmed and you just couldn't deal, and you were just like afraid of getting sick, or if you had family members who had like were at higher risk of getting sick, like
Mhm.
you would be allowed to like take off as much time as you needed, and you wouldn't lose your benefits. But like, I mean, obviously you wouldn't get paid for being gone, but you wouldn't lose your insurance, which is, I think, is pretty awesome. I mean,
That is awesome.
there's like maybe still a handful of people who haven't been back since March, and they're like still covered under insurance and stuff. So I
Wow,
think
that's pretty impressive.
it's pretty awesome. Yeah. Like I can't think of anywhere that would do that for their employees.
No, that is pretty cool. I know here in New York City, Trader Joe's is incredibly popular.
Yeah.
People literally stand in line for an hour just to pay. Uh, I don't have that patience.
Yeah. I completely agree. I don't know.
So I will go in there with a friend of mine is shopping, and I will literally stand in line as soon as we walk in, so that my friend can go shop around, walk up to the cart, drop stuff off, and by the time she's finished shopping, we're halfway through the line.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I know, like in bigger cities, it's more like that. Like down here, even though we are pretty busy, before COVID, it wasn't like that. It was we would have like really long lines and stuff, but it wasn't to the point where you had to grab a buggy and like stand in line.
For an hour
Yeah,
while somebody else does the shopping.
yeah. But now, since COVID's going on, we are doing what we think is the best for employees and for customers by like only letting a certain amount of people in at a time. Our
Hmm.
store, I think every store varies on what they can do, but we're only letting 55 people in at a time. And I know other stores are bigger than us, so they probably let more people in. But yeah, with doing that, there's definitely starting to be a line waiting outside just to come inside. It's been a long line like that wraps around the building. It's pretty insane. But
And how does that affect your hours, right? Because if the store was used to being busy all the time and bringing in larger, amounts of revenue, all of a sudden you're limiting your capacity to 55. How does that affect you, the worker, or everybody who's working at that store?
Honestly, I think it's. I mean, I'm sure it's not great for the business in a whole, but they just care more about their employees to where like we feel safe and it's like a healthy environment to work in. So like they haven't cut anybody's hours. We haven't lost any like they haven't cut anybody's pay or anything like that. They actually gave us like I guess you could call it like hazard pay until this is like over with. So I mean they've been doing stuff to make things like a little easier and less stressful in a time where I could see other people who have other jobs who have to work at home and could be a lot more stressed out and maybe they're not getting as much hours and stuff or maybe not even
So
getting as paid as much.
you got hazard pay in the beginning. Do you still have it today?
So it took a couple months for us to even get it. And when I mean hazard pay, it was like $2 extra on top of what I'm making right now. Um, but then so man, I can't even remember when they started giving us that. It was like, it wasn't in March. It might have been in February or May. It took like a month or two before we even got that. Um,
So
but
April or
I
May.
yeah, something like that. But I still have it right now. And they even gave us like a 20% discount. Because beforehand it was only 10. So that's been nice too.
That's pretty impressive. I didn't know that Trader Joe's was actually treating their employees that well.
Yeah, man, they treat us really well. Like, you've worked at Harris Teeter and other grocery stores like me,
Hmm.
and you walk into those grocery stores, you can just feel the tension. When you walk in, you can just tell the employees are just bummed to be there, and I get it because I worked at those stores and I felt the same way. But it's just different. It's just a different vibe, man. You feel like you're getting taken care of, and you feel like you're a valuable person.
That's so true. I would walk into, so I worked at Harris Teeter and I worked at Food Lion, and man, we did not give a shit about our jobs.
No, you don't. You don't get paid enough to.
Yeah, we know the management doesn't care. We know that as soon as the store dollars go down, our hours go down. Um, and it was just a tricky situation all around, right?
Yeah.
And it was actually a lot of it depended on your relationship with the manager, which is typical of almost any job. But
Yeah.
when you're making close to minimum wage, it matters more
Hmm.
when that's your livelihood and your relationship with your manager is so crucial to how many hours you get and what hours you get.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, like I play music and stuff, and they've been really flexible with that. So I mean,
Yeah,
like,
how has that worked out? Because you are in the band Youth League
yeah,
and you are the drummer.
yeah, yeah. Youth League is basically just me and my brother Mike and a really close friend of ours, Jaffer, who we met in Wilmington when we all used to live in Wilmington. And yeah, like that band basically formed because me and Mike's project, another band we were in, basically disbanded, and so did Jaffer's, and then we liked the same kind of music, so we started talking about playing together, and that's kind of how that all started.
And so you, if I remember right, you actually played at a Hurricanes game.
Yeah, that was
Hurricanes, right?
yeah, that was wild, man. That's probably the biggest thing I'll ever do.
So far. Biggest thing you've done so far.
Definitely so far. I'm pretty like I'm not. Let's just say I'm a realistic person. I don't like the style of music I play. I just don't ever see us playing stuff like huge like stadiums like that. I was just like,
Yeah, but everybody has a certain taste. Everyone has a fan base, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I think that the more you guys play and the more you get well known, the larger your crowds will be. And I've watched your some of the YouTube videos on it, which is actually pretty cool.
yeah.
For everybody listening, go to YouTube, just type in Youth League Band. And I like the one where you guys are doing what was it, the Raleigh
Oh, the Oak City session thing.
Oak City Sessions.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was cool. So how has COVID affected that, right?
Oh
Because
my
you guys
god.
were going to venues and obviously the Carolina Hurricanes, and then indoor everything is shut
Yeah,
down.
man, it's been it's been rough, man. Like, I mean, like that's like an outlet for me and for a lot of other people I know. Like playing music, like it just helps you deal with things and just like helps you express yourself, and it's just a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of cool people. You get to go to places you typically wouldn't go to or couldn't afford to go to, but or have an excuse to go. But man, with this going on, it's just like kind of just I don't. I'm just. It sucks because you don't know. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to play a show again, and like hopefully the venues survive this because they're not getting any funding, and like and then you're caught in this thought process of like what is live music going to be like after this? Are people going to be like very cautious about going out to shows, or are people going to be so like pent up with like being like house arrest kind of and just being like I'm gonna go do everything. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
it's a
like
it's
you
a
don't
weird
know.
situation.
Yeah, and like we had so much planned for this year. We had already like done so much last year, and this year we're planning on touring a lot more. Like there's like every year in Florida, there's a festival that we play called the Fest, and we were gonna try to go play that. There was like Hopscotch, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina, and that got canceled. I was supposed to fill in and play bass in another band. One of my good friends from Atlanta's band. We were supposed to go to Europe, and that would have been like my first time ever going to Europe to play music and stuff. And that it's not happening. And just all these opportunities of like getting to do cool things, and it's just like gone. And like there's no like sight or just there's no like there's no end in sight, you know. It sucks.
When you would go to these venues and play in that festival in Florida, who would do the work for that? Would it be you guys?
Oh, you mean like like booking for stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's it used to be in past projects it was my brother doing a lot of it, and then I kind of just like took the reins and started just doing it because I don't know, I just wanted to kind of learn how to do it myself and just like be more proactive in like helping the band get more successful. um
So when things do start to open up, which God knows when that'll be, right? I mean, it's looking more and more like summer 2021 when real venues begin to open up.
God, I
Um, it is you don't have an agent, right? You don't have anyone doing the searches or anything else. It's just you.
yeah, it's just us.
Man, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's I'm just more it sucks to like sit out a whole year and not be playing shows, but I know some people are doing like live streams and stuff, which is cool. And I think we're supposed to be doing one or two of those sometime soon. Um, but I mean, hopefully these venues will survive because if we don't have the venues, we don't have anywhere to play. I mean, I guess like if you are able to start playing shows again, but there's no venues, it just goes back to the DIY scene where you're playing at people's houses and basements and stuff, which is also like a lot of fun.
Have you gotten with the band at all during COVID to just play at home or
Yeah, yeah. So we're pretty fortunate. There's like a practice space we rent out. It's not too far away from the house, and it's like pretty secluded. There's usually nobody there, and we'll get get together and practice like at least once a week or so.
nice?
Yeah, it's
So you guys aren't going to be extremely rusty.
no, it won't be like terrible. It's already like we've only practiced like a few times, I think, since COVID started, or yeah, since COVID started. And we were all kind of surprised on how well we kept it together. I mean, it was like it was for us. It was like, oh, this is kind of, you can tell we haven't played in a while, but like I don't think anybody else would have noticed that we were playing sloppy.
Right. And how long do you think you could go without, a good practice session and still be, somewhat in sync?
So to put it in perspective, our last show we played before COVID started was March 6th or 7th or something like that, and we didn't practice until maybe in like May or like no,
So around 2 months.
it was a little longer actually. I think it might have been around July. It was a couple months we didn't play. We were just like, for the first like month or two, everybody was just like, in panic mode. And we were like, what the hell is happening? What's going on? So we didn't really think about
Right.
anything. You're just like, what's going on in the world right now?
And I'm guessing your hours were increasing at the beginning of COVID.
No, I mean like not really increasing. I mean, they were offering like if you wanted to come in and work, you can come in like an extra hour, or you can just come in on a day off just to help out or whatever. Because like the
Hmm.
store was like slammed, and like I'm talking about like people buying like hundreds of dollars worth of groceries, like $500, $600, $700 carts. Like it was just insane. Like I can't even imagine. Like I get bummed out when I go to the grocery store and I spend over $100, and it's like it doesn't take very much, items to like go over that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Are you hoping that once this is over, youth league will start to play again?
Oh yeah, I mean that's gonna happen. As soon as this
Yeah.
is done, we're gonna be like trying to play as much as possible.
Well, that's awesome because you you have a skill that I would kill for, and that's to be musically talented. I, for whatever reason, was not given the gift of music talent.
I think I just got really lucky with that, I guess. Well, like my mother played guitar when she was growing up, and I think into like college and stuff, she was playing guitar, like folk music stuff. And then my dad played like bluegrass. He played like stand up bass. And my grandfather actually, my dad's side, um, he played drums, and maybe that's where I got it from. I don't know, but
But you can play guitar as well, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the first instrument I picked up was a guitar, and it was most all. I mean, it basically was because of my brother. He was playing guitar, and I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 13 or something, and I was like, older brother playing guitar. I want to play guitar. I would like pester him to get him to show me songs or how to play stuff, and till eventually he was just like, you just got to figure it out on your own. And I just kept at it. And eventually, I just started dabbling with other things. It's funny. I'm like looking around in the room I'm sitting in right now. It's like all these instruments around me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. If I could play anything, I would definitely have instruments and try and do a band. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that when you're really bad at something, you kind of just sit there and wish.
Yeah,
Like, man.
I will say, like since COVID, I don't really play that much guitar as much. I've been, because I play drums so much. But since COVID's been happening, I've been playing a lot more guitar. I've been writing a lot more, and since I have like these other instruments here, I'm able to like mess around on them a lot more. And it's been like really fun getting to like learn more stuff about some of the other instruments I have, and rather than just having it hang up on a wall the whole time I have it.
So is that what you've been doing during quarantine? I mean, it depends. I know a lot of people have been trying to work out. Some people have been trying to explore parks. Some people have literally just sat at home and played video games. What have you done to kind of kill time, to kind of cope with this pandemic?
um, yeah, I've basically just been writing some like solo stuff. I'm planning to put out a little like solo. record. It's gonna be like really short, like 5 songs or something like that. So I've been doing that to kind of help keep me motivated and stay focused, and just like have something to keep myself busy.
How do you record all that stuff? Do you have like a little studio?
No, I actually record like, so the thing I'm recording that I'm trying to put it out sometime soon within the next month or so. I've been recording it on my iPhone, and then I sent it to my friend who lives in Nashville, and he's been like mastering it and making it sound better. But like for like iPhone recording, it sounds great.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's been really fun messing with that.
I can only imagine people in the 1950s
Oh my
where they
god,
have to get all this equipment, a giant room, and
like
you know,
thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
right. If you don't get a contract with one of the big record labels, you're not gonna be well known
Yeah,
ever.
you're never gonna have anything recorded.
And now here you are saying, you know what, I got a little computer that fits in my pocket. I'll just record it, and there we go, an album.
It's crazy, Ed.
That is mind blowing.
I've been doing that, and yeah, recently I've been hiking a lot. That's not something I typically did a lot in the past. Growing up, I did some camping and stuff with my dad and my brother, and I was in like Boy Scouts and stuff. But man, I
Are you an Eagle Scout?
no, I what did I make it to? I made it to Life Scout, which is, well, yeah, I made it to Life Scout, which is like the bad, or like the step right below it. I never quite finished.
Did you start? Because isn't there a project that you have to do?
Yeah, there is. You have to have it. You have to. Yeah, you basically have to have it finished before you're 18 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't, even if you've like started it and finished it, but like you already turned 18, like you won't get it, which is basically bullshit. I don't know. Just like, is it really worth it to be an Eagle Scout? Like nobody gives a shit.
Right. I
Like, I
mean,
mean,
the
no
the
offense to
biggest
anybody
benefit.
who's got it. I mean, that's pretty. It's cool that you worked your ass off to get it, and I know how much work you put into it to get it. Not to downplay an Eagle Scout or anything, but there's just certain things, certain rules the Boy Scouts have, and it's just kind of bullshit.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business, right?
Mm,
I used to work at a Boy Scout store,
okay,
and
selling those green and red socks,
oh my
polo ties,
god,
and the mer badge, stash badge things.
yeah! If
Yeah, yeah,
you are going to join the Boy Scouts and actually do it, you better have some money.
it's expensive. Yeah,
It is not designed to help just the average kid, learn some valuable skills, right? Like tying knots, how to start a fire, how to navigate yourself if you
yeah,
get lost in the woods or whatever. There's a lot of skills in there. How to swim better, float, whatever.
yeah, man. I remember one of the things you had to do for a MERT badge or to become like one of the maybe it was like Star Scout or something. I don't know, but there was like this one thing you had to do. It was intense. You basically had to like jump in to like a pool of water. It's over your head. It has to be over your head. You can't touch, and you have to wear like pants. Like most of the time, it was like khaki pants. They told you to like wear. So you had to like jump in the water fully clothed with these pants on. You had to like take off the pants and like tie the legs together, and then try to throw the
Oh,
pants over your head to try to get air in it. This whole time, you're trying to tread water to keep yourself afloat.
right.
You
Because
catch, yeah, you catch air in the pants, and you use like the legs, kind of. You put your head through the legs to kind of help you make kind of like a crafty, life jacket.
right.
It's like one of the coolest things, like you can learn. Like there's been like people in the Navy that's fallen off of ships, and they've done that, and they've stayed afloat for like days until they got found. It's pretty wild.
Right. It's a survival tip, right? It's a
Yeah,
survival skill.
it's so cool. Like I hope that never happens to me because I'd be terrified. But like at least I know like I can do something.
Right. And I mean, you don't need to be an Eagle Scout to learn this, right?
No, you don't.
It's the reason the Boy Scouts, I think, originally were created was to help young kids learn valuable skills, right? And just like
Yeah.
anything else, it got capitalized
Mm.
monetarily, and so they started selling these books, and you have to buy this, and you have to buy that, and
Yeah, you're like summer camps to get more mer badges quicker. It's just,
right, yeah. And
yeah.
then not only that, but then what? For a while, you weren't allowed to be gay or something like that, and
It's probably like still a thing. I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, I don't remember if they ever changed that policy or not, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of controversy surrounding
Yeah, it's just like, man, it's mostly like, I feel like it's mostly just parents being weirded out that their kids around like a different kid, and it's just like, I mean, get over it, man. It's not a big deal. Like
Yeah,
your kid could probably understand it quicker than you will.
right. Yeah, and I mean, when you go to school, you can't control that. Who's going to school with you, right?
Yeah,
And that's part of growing up. You meet people that are different, and you learn to develop a relationship with people that are not like you.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's just, yeah, that's life right there, man. Like right off the bat.
That is the human experience.
Yeah. There you go. It all full 360 right there. No, 180. Or fuck, I don't know.
There you go. 180. We'll go with the 180. So you are in North Carolina,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you know this, but there's an election coming up.
Oh yeah, I know this.
What is it like down there?
um.
A lot of TV ads, a lot
Oh
of
my
rallies. What's going on?
god, there's so many TV ads. It's so irritating, especially when it's like these people who suck. um. I don't want to get too political, but it's just like, Durham is a pretty progressive place. It's pretty blue, pretty. It's a good spot to be living in the South. I have like no problems. You don't really see. I mean, there's definitely people who are into Trump and shit still here. It's just not as prevalent as maybe some like cities outside of like the Triangle area. Triangle being Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. Yeah, basically in North Carolina, like Chapel Hill, Durham, Charlotte, I feel like, and Asheville are probably the most progressive places. And everywhere else is pretty red for the most part. Yeah, as soon as you get outside of any like larger city in North Carolina, it can get, not to say that people aren't like, I don't know, man. It's weird
It
down
gets
here.
very conservative,
Yes, yeah,
where people wave their Confederate flags high and proud, and
yeah, man. It used to not like. I mean, every once in a while you'll see that shit, but then like I don't know, like ever since Trump's been in office, it's been a lot more prevalent with the Confederate flags.
yeah, it's a weird concept to be so proud of a nation that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we've already had a fight about this, and you lost.
Right. And yet they're like, no, it's heritage. Well,
No, it's
there's a lot
not.
of heritage out there you can pick from, and you're picking one very specific
It
one.
didn't even last that long. There's like the Wu Tang's been around longer.
That is a very good point.
Yeah.
No, are you going to watch the debate tomorrow night?
Mm, not really, because I'll just get pissed. I mean, I'm voting. I know there's some people I know who are like still like not gonna vote. And I'm like, God damn it.
Are they younger?
Yeah, I mean they're close to like our age, and they're just like, I mean, I'm pretty left, but like they're like way more left than I am, and they're just more extreme with it, and they're just like, we need to like, it needs to be like this and this, and it's like, well, you can't get that until we get this situated, and I'd rather not have to deal with Trump for another 4 years, so I'm just gonna go with Biden, man.
I mean, look, I will admit, I love Trump's social media.
Oh my god.
He says the funniest things, the most ridiculous things. I think either today or yesterday he tweeted something about, "Oh, Biden's not gonna take a drug test before the debate." Shocker.
That's fucking ridiculous.
What are you talking about? Why? Why? This is not a wrestling match. This is not.
What? That's
It's ridiculous,
that
and,
doesn't
and
make
but
any
it's
sense
so
to me.
entertaining. and that's what that grabs so much attention that there can be a million things going on in the world, and yet CNN and all the other news outlets will be covering Trump's tweets, right?
He's an idiot. He doesn't like. I think he's just trying to get people like riled up.
Oh, absolutely. He's trying to get his
Right.
base
Yeah.
fired
Where's
up,
your
and
drug
then the other
test?
side, fired up as well. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
I just like so. Here's my thing, and I'll leave it at that. So basically, I'm not just like attacking Trump or anything, but even if it was another Republican president, they would not have done so poorly with this pandemic. Anybody else would have done way better than him.
Yeah, it's
He
uh,
dropped
it's
the
very
ball so fucking bad, so bad.
yeah, it's been questionable all around. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the benefit of living in a country like the United States, right? You have the power to do whatever you want, and even if it hurts others, right? Like, how many people wear a mask in Durham?
It's actually pretty good here. Everybody wears a mask for the. I There's like maybe a handful that don't wear a mask, but for the most part, everybody's wearing a mask. It's pretty good. And Durham was like on top of it before it got out of hand, or before it's blew
Have you
up.
guys had a lot of spikes in cases, or have you guys been pretty good the entire time?
To be honest, man, I just stopped. I stopped paying attention to it. I was just like, man, I know it's here and I know it's bad, and I just don't need to hear about how bad it's getting, because I know
Yeah,
it's getting worse every day with like opening up things here and there. There was a website that I was looking at a lot, and it was called like, man, what was it called? It was like COVID-19 data or something. I don't know. It was really cool because it would show you like the trends of like what they were predicting with all the information they were getting with the cases, and you could pick countries. You could pick, if you pick the United States, you could pick it by states, so you could see how each state was doing, and they were projecting how many deaths it would be, or like cases or people sick, or like how many ICU beds they would need in each state or each country. Like it was crazy. It's a really cool website. Man, I wish I could remember what it's called.
yeah. Sometimes it's better to kind of disconnect, right?
I mean, it can, when you're like looking at stuff, it's like pretty depressing all the time. It takes a toll out on you, man, and like you get pretty down and you get pretty depressed and don't want to do anything, and you're just like, well, everything sucks.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know that you're taking care of yourself, right?
Yeah,
And
I'm
and your
doing,
family, and
yeah.
and that's what. If everybody focused on that, we would be in such a better spot.
If people would just suck it up and just wear a mask, like we could be done with this. I'll just, I just want to, I just want to play shows and stuff, man.
You want youth league back on the road?
All right, so I'm looking up right now. God, it's already gone up that much. That's insane. So there's,
Well, here in New York, I mean,
I've heard that New York's doing way better than what it was.
yeah, I know that North Carolina was getting more cases than New York.
Yeah, I mean we're also like testing more, but even then, dude, the testing is, oh my god.
Have you gotten tested?
I have not actually, because I haven't been around anybody who's, so I haven't been around anybody who's gotten it. Um, so I just feel like it'd be kind of I don't want to just take a test just to take it. I don't want to waste the test. Basically, is what I'm
Right.
saying. If like now, if I feel like I have symptoms, then I'll go take a test to make sure I don't have anything. But I'm not just going to go in there if I feel fine. I just feel like that's a waste of resources.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like, earlier on. All right, so sorry, all this stuff is like coming out right now. So back in February, it was like a little after I got back from New York after hanging out up there, and maybe it was like a week or two later. My wife Christy, she went up to Chicago to see a friend, and this was like right when stuff started popping off. Like, oh, there's a case in North Carolina now, and she had gotten back, and I was like texting her about it. I was like, oh, looks like it's people are getting sick and stuff.
It's the end of the world.
What? Not quite yet. It was like you're still like people are still doing stuff, you know. And so when she got back from Chicago, she got sick for like about a week, and she had like a fever and stuff. And she works in like the healthcare um, system, so it's like, oh, she's like, well, I want to get tested to make sure I don't have this because she deals with people that have cancer, and like if everything's right, what they're saying, like people who have cancer, aren't going to have a good time with this. So she went to go get tested, and they would not test her. She was like, I just came from Chicago, where it's like way more cases. Like, shouldn't you test me? And they were like, well, if you haven't left the country, we're not going to test you. And this is before they had like a lot more tests than they have now.
Yep.
But like what you have, like the criteria you had to meet just to get tested was just like ridiculous. Like they didn't want to test anybody. They didn't want to know that anybody had it. And it took like almost the end of like March to be able to just get tested. So she like even got tested for the flu like 3 or 4 times, and it was negative all 3 times. So she's convinced that she had it, but there's no way of telling if she had it or not.
That's insane that this country was so caught off guard, right?
Oh yeah, so unprepared.
Um, and I think this is the argument that some people make where, hey, Trump probably should have gone all out. But even if he did, right? Did we even have the resources available? Because if China is making everything for us and they're hoarding all of their tests and all of the materials and everything else, I don't know what else we could do other than beg them.
I
I don't
think
know.
I think
It was weird.
I think if he would have reacted way quicker and like just like put in
Right.
place the like the instruments that we needed to make sure we succeed in this, like already in place, just to be proactive about it would have helped tremendously, I think.
Yeah, and I remember there were reports that Trump had, you know, destroyed some sort of or eliminated some sort of federal
Oh, he
prevention.
fired he fired the guy who like looked over all the infectious diseases. He like fired that
Yeah,
guy.
there was a lot of stuff going on, but again, when you don't know what's happening, when you don't know how serious this is, when you don't know anything,
Well, he chose not to listen.
yeah, that's where he did fuck up, like big time. If China's going into lockdown and you see,
Every other
cases
country,
spreading,
yeah, just going through ridiculous stuff. Like you should act on that, like almost
right?
immediately. Like just because we're the USA doesn't mean like we're not going to be affected by it. Like just because we have the ocean, like dude, we have mad people coming to this country every day. They
Yeah,
just
and
want to
like
be
you were
there. Like
saying, your wife couldn't get a test because she didn't leave the country, right? That was
yeah,
part of the criteria.
yeah. Well, and like kind of looking back and like other diseases like Ebola and stuff, like we caught that stuff like so quick and got ahead of it like immediately, so it wouldn't like spread and just like kill thousands of people.
Yeah, it's a weird time to be alive right
It
now.
really is. I find myself saying that a lot just to lighten the tension with people when they like I'll say that to like customers and stuff, even with it's like stupid things like so at work we're not allowed to use reusable bags. At least at the store I'm working at. And I could tell them that, and then people like give me this look like, "What do you mean? Like, why?" and all this, and I like have to go into the whole thing like, "Oh, like CDC is recommending we don't do this. Like, sorry." And then I'm like, "It's a weird time to be alive."
Yeah,
To lighten
you're
the
not even allowed to use your own reusable
at
bag.
least at our store, we're not. I know like other grocery stores, they're like asking people to do that. Um, with Trader Joe's doing that, I don't know how many other stores are doing that, but I know from my store personally, we're doing that, and we've had bag shortages because of it.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Well, Zach Large, I really appreciate your time. Is there a social media outlet that Youth League has that people should follow?
yeah. We have like an Instagram, we have Twitter, Facebook. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff.
And is the handle just Youth League?
I think it's Youth League Band, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Maybe the Instagram might be different. It might be like Youth League NC.
Well, I've got a Twitter and an Instagram for this podcast. I'll make sure and post everything on there.
Yeah, man.
Again, I'm happy that you're safe.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
happy that everything's going good with you, and hopefully, this pandemic will be over soon, and we can do this podcast in person.
That'd be cool, man. Like I got plenty of stuff to talk about.
No, I know this is the human experience, right? And in 2020, it's wild.
Yeah. I'll, if we do this again, if there's a part two, I'll tell you about the hiking experience that I just experienced.
Oh, there will definitely be a part two.
It's pretty intense.
Well, Zach Large, I appreciate you and thank you for being on, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Stay safe.
You too, man. Take care.